Desu Gatlu, that core going up against two members from Paper Rex who were on a different team back then, Yang and Reeboks. And despite each of these teams making every single World Championship, they have never actually had a rematch.
Okay.
So, you know, a little bit of history. We'll have to see whether Yang and Reeboks now on Paper Rex representing APAC West can make this comeback and demonstrate how far they have actually come over these years, or whether Nouns is still on top because they actually ended up winning.
Okay,
But, we're in.
The Nouns Renaissance is in favor of Nouns at the moment, but Paper X, like you mentioned, a bit of a new look, a new team, and it's been years, but we all remember. We always remember. So let's see where this draft is looking like so far. Paper X will be banning both the Blissey and the Charizard. I think two staple Pokemon that we've seen in the Western metagame. Now Esports, though, going with double defender bans. Also, just an update for all of you at home, and potentially us too. All of the stats you see on screen at this point in the tournament are entirely from Worlds exclusively. So we are no longer all-season stats. Any stats you see on screen are coming from this tournament.
Okay, so we can see there that Suicune has been a top priority pick with that 62% win rate here today. But I guess knowing that we have that Suicune and that Snorlax over on the side of Nouns Esports, Yemu is going to lock in a Blissey, and we also have a Mamoswine. So picking up that bulk later on in that draft phase.
Yeah, Mamoswine is a pick for the defender, or sorry, a secondary defender in this pick. It's actually really interesting. It will give kind of the anti-melee option, which, of course, we have Galarian Rapidash, Dodrio, two Pokemon that will like to get up close and personal. They could be a soft counter. However, Pastel Veil versus Ice Fang is going to be a bit of mind games between these two sides. But I think Toonslim going for an attack damage Pokemon that plays at range should come at no surprise after seeing kind of the defender and supportive options. It's going to be interesting to see the Mewtwo Y versus the Latios, and I believe a Desu going to be picking up that Pokemon, which means we're going to see central area damage carry Galarian Rapidash, which is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, well, I know between Nouns, having spectated them throughout that season, Toon and Gatlu are very flexible when it comes to their lane of choice. So they do switch around between that top and that central area. But I guess considering Gatlu is running the attack weight stack, we are likely to see them up in that top half. That way they can pack that up earlier on in the game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see because, well, Rapidash has stacking item of their own with the special attack specs.
Yeah, there you go. Get a little bit of boost both with the stacking from scoring and the stacking from knockout if you throw the drive lens into the mix as well. I'm really interested to see this Blastoise versus Dodrio top half matchup because those picks did come in tandem. We saw the Dodrio from Nouns Esports and then followed up by the Blastoise selection for Paper X. And it does make sense. It's going to be a pretty tanky Pokemon for especially early game Dodrio to try to deal with. Also, we get a rare appearance for the Choice Scarf, the held item as well, with Blastoise going with double auto attack items and even adding a triple one now when you throw the Choice Scarf in the mix.
Yeah, well, they don't need that experience share on hand, but there we go. We're heading into that first match between Paper X and Nouns Esports, rolling it out early. That is a really early KO on that Mewtwo, giving that advantage Paper X. But, bruv, they're just going to have to fend off and shut this Latios down by themselves for the time being.
Yeah, pretty important early KO. I think Paper X would have loved if Latios gets the last hit there, but just any hits on opposing Pokemon will stack up that Eon power a little bit later. We need that level 5, right? So, you know, just signs of things to come. They're practicing. They're practicing, making sure they're set to go.
Got to warm up those muscles there, all right? You got to get into that routine. Otherwise, as we pivot up to the top half, we can see Yang supporting Yamu there, looking for that level 5. That way, they can reach that War Turtle phase.
And I really do love this companionship of the Blastoise and the Hoopa together. One of the most tanky damage dealers we have with the Blastoise, compared with the Hoopa, who can reset almost full HP bars, is a very powerful duo. Paper X putting up yet another knockout, though, and now Mimikyu getting a KO. Latios getting a few more Aeon power stacks that they have hit that level 5. There's going to be some early pressure. Toonslim, in a rare occasion, actually has to just play really far back.
Yeah, they're going to have to play far back, but we can see Gatlu has decided to head on into that central area on that mini-map, leaving Inda all alone to fend against two members. Gatlu has appeared on screen, and I believe they ended up successfully taking that red buff too.
Yeah, I think that also just gives us a little bit more information about why Inder was playing the way they were as well. Basically playing for information, making sure that Gatlu on that invasion mission would not be disrupted whatsoever by Paper X rotating. So good call from them. Edesu is caught out this Mewtwo, taking a lot of damage. It's a big stun from Phantom Force, but Edesu will make it away since everyone else was... Never mind, HT hits that max range Shadow Sneak.
That is the brilliance that Shadow Sneak brings. If you're able to utilize the walls and the tall grass, the distance you can get in a short amount of time is insane.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Gatlu getting into those little dunks just to bridge the gap in points so far. Paper Rex are still in the lead, answering up with some points up in the top half themselves.
Yeah, some decent scoring from Paper X will be giving them this solid lead. However, like you called out, I think it's really, really smart, Kello. That Dodrio finally getting a little bit more impact with their scores on the other hand. Now, Paper X's draft, I think, is starting to look better and better as we are seeing some of the specific interactions. That Dodrio is having a pretty tough time going up against the Ice Fang, the Blastoise, and potentially even this Play Rough Mimikyu. It's such a nice anti-dive option. Really shuts down. You can kind of bait out some cooldowns. You dodge so much damage. It's a great play into this enemy comp.
This is a brilliance of Hooper Hyperspace Hole to just teleport the team down into that bottom path so they can go and contest this Regirock. Gatlu ends up full healing, escaping that Ice Fang, but Nouns Esports are still the one to pick up that defense and special defense buff, along with a KO on Latios.
All right, I mean, in one of the slower starts of our matches we've seen on the World's broadcast so far, Nouns Esports finally gets a solid counterpunch in. So they're going to take the points lead, albeit at a very, very small one, but they have been taking so much of that experience. I think that has been a major way that Nouns Esports has stayed in contention here. It feels like Toon Slim on that Galarian Rapidash or potentially Gatlu and that Dodrio have not left that enemy central.
No, we can already see Gatlu has reached that double digits, the first level 10 slowly to reach a level 11, but even being on that pad, they weren't able to defend that Reggie Alecki, and we have 4 members of Paper Rex here. Nouns Esports, they really have to ramp it up and put the defense on because they don't want these insta-dunks going in.
Well, I honestly think Nouns Esports intended for that Reggie Alecki to land with Suicune and Snorlax kind of setting up a bit of a trap play. They're able to take individual Pokemon and pull them. They do got to give up 30 points though from a Blastoise in a back cap situation on a tier 1. I'm not sure if that fits the definition. Either way, Nouns Esports rapidly trying to score. Hydro Typhoon knocks up a few, but Bruv pushing with that block is immune to the crowd control.
Bruv is quite low here, does have to back on up, doesn't have that Unite move just yet as they're trying to escape the range from Solo. But some great defense there from Nouns Esports to protect their members, allowing Bruv to retreat back home to full HP because I guess they don't have that hyperspace hole to return back instantly like Paper Rex do.
Yeah, I bet they are missing that one right now a little bit. Instead, they got Edesu on that Mewtwo-Y. So instead of a more protective, supportive fashion with the EXP share, or sorry, Edesu not holding the XP share, but still setting up for a few different moments throughout that game. We've seen Mewtwo-Y's Unite move be so powerful already during today's tournament. I think we're going to be looking for another big light show from Edesu.
Well, we can see Inter is all alone up here as Rebongs is trying to get in this 12 points. Does end up getting denied, but it does mean they're able to get 10 more dunks in. Mewtwo-Y is going to pop their Unite to get the stuns as we have Reggie still being worked on a quarter HP as Ringside Bound has come on out and it ends up going to Paper Rex this time round. Whether they're going to use this momentum to keep pushing back, but we have 10 seconds left until that Reggie Alecki does spawn.
All right, well, that is a Hoopa Unite move to bring everybody down. I mean, Nouns Esports with a really interesting rotation there. They leave Suicune to defend the top side. Eventually, they have to give that up, but as then we peel down towards the bottom side, Hoopa brings everybody from Paper X, but Nouns Esports still only 2 members there. So Nouns Esports really playing this split push strategy, looking for EXP wherever they can find it.
Well, some EXP might come out from these KOs as Rebongs is quite low, able to successfully pick up Gatlu, and they end up going down at the same time. Rapidash ends up popping out their Unite move, and Paper Rex, they only have 2 members remaining as we do have Yamu spinning on out back to safety. Regieleki is still there, but Nouns Esports, they don't want to focus that. They want to starve Paper Rex a little bit more in their central area.
Yeah, every single time we see Nouns Esports win a team fight, immediately they are pathing towards that enemy central area. However, this skirmish starting to favor Paper Rex a little more as they get 2 knockouts onto Toon Slim and onto a Desu on that Suicune. So those are 2 huge hits. HT on this Mimikyu, by the way, has been weaving these Shadow Sneaks very, very well. I remember talking to a few members of Nouns Esports, and they were pretty low on the idea of Mimikyu due to Shadow Sneak being often countered by defenders. As long as a good defender player is making sure they are in between your carry and the Mimikyu, you can absorb those Shadow Sneaks. But even with Bruv trying to put up a block to stop it, HT has still found a way into the backline quite a few times.
Oh, there we go. Hooper is going to broaden that gap just ever so further for Paper Rex with a back cap of 23 onto that top tier 2 pad. But Regieleki, despite being there for so long, neither of these teams have prioritized that. Instead, they are focusing on this bottom path for that next Basement Reggie to spawn. But an early fight, Rebongs is able to escape, but Gatlu unable to, and that means Paper Rex do have the numbers advantage going into this Reggie Rock fight.
Yeah, Bruv's block just a little bit outside of the Mamoswine range. They could have pulled him in, and that means they weren't there for the Suicune execute. But it will be another Whirlpool trying to stun and freeze, but the portal is put down early enough in time. We talked about that Renaissance versus Nouns Esport matchup. Yemu on Hoopa was a very important part of that fight years ago. Looks like Paper Rex is going to be reliving the past a little bit if they can, and maybe trying to rewrite it in this Rayquaza pit.
Well, Rayquaza has spawned 220 to 171 with Paper Rex in the lead. Slowly chipping away at this Rayquaza, waiting for Nouns Esports to try and make a move, but really, who do you dive on? Is it going to be Bruv to go in with an engage, or is it going to be this triple trample from this Dodrio, the block to prevent Rebongs going up there? I mean, Nouns, well, they're the ones that are on the back foot right now. They need to make a move.
And it's so tough for their composition to be in that spot because they would love to set up a trap. Suicune and Snorlax so good at grabbing an individual or even multiple Pokemon and stunning them and pushing them into really disadvantageous spots. Bruv will split the team, but a Hoopa portal will make sure everybody is safe and sound. Gatlu does win a battle against the Mimikyu. Desu in danger is going to drop the Unite move.
There goes the triple trample, but unable to pick up anything as Rebongs is going in with that Mammoth Mash, hoping to take some KOs, but 3 members of Paper Rex have been taken down, and now this is Nouns Esports to come back with that comeback. But wait, the block ended up preventing the Hydro Typhoon from knocking up a Bruv there.
Yeah, pretty decent use of that unstoppable trigger, and Nouns Esports are winning this team fight, but the question is, are they doing it in time? Mimikyu does have a 20-second plus respawn timer now, so it should be enough time to secure their Rayquaza, but they're going to need to take it down, not an easy task, and score after that. You see Bruv already pathing towards the top side in anticipation of that Rayquaza going down, and Gatlu will secure Hundo Burger for Bruv.
Yeah, Bruv right there on time to get that insta-dunk and now take that lead 220 to 271. No one on Paper Rex is near Nouns Esports goals as these dunks are raining on through. Nouns Esports looking to take this first match.
What a patient win for Nouns Esports on that EU squad. They stayed around that top side for so long, despite having a pretty major points deficit, just waiting for a moment where they could try to utilize...
Exactly, so clearly these teams have been doing their homework, but we'll have to see whether your call is right here and Paper Rex do decide to ban that Suicune this time around. We can see them hovering over that Blissey so far as we are heading into that second pick ban phase.
All right, they're just going to be running it back, it seems, at least so far. Nouns Esports are, of course, going to ban that Ho-Oh. 54% ban rate. Charizard only at 32%, but it will be a repeat ban phase for Paper X. So far, my prediction of them shifting it up could not be more wrong, as both these teams are going to be locking in identical bans. But, of course, we got a brand new draft to look at. And thank you, Nouns Esports, for shifting it up. I'm not wrong about the bans changing. I am wrong about the last thing about them being the same, but that's all right. Latios, going to be banned by Nouns.
I think this is a really interesting call. I mean, Latios today, I feel like, has been very much hit or miss.
Yes, 100%.
Was it worthy of banning this time round, considering they were able to go and counter it the last time? But I guess, you know what? Because Nouns Esports have banned that Latios, Yang is able to pick up that Suicune themselves. And if you don't ban it and you are in that first pick position, well, hey, that gives you that prime opportunity.
Yeah, first picking Suicune just feels so powerful. I know Spraggles and Doomsnacks were talking a lot during their commentary session, but how strong this Pokemon is. In particular, I think one of the Suicune's best assets is the Unite move, specifically on top of Rayquaza. Any melee Pokemon that is trying to land a big secure finds it so difficult when you hit that endless ice spikes that Suicune can create. It's a huge freeze. It can be tough. I wouldn't be surprised if Nouns Esports maybe put Gatlu on something like a Blaziken, who is a good unstoppable secure, to try to add a little bit of counterplay to those final moments, but then again, the Dodrio was looking good, so we'll see.
But that's the thing, having that Suicune on the other side, is Dodrio really going to have that chance to shine? We already have Rapidash being selected by Odesu, whether we'll see those switches later on, but there we go! We have Inda on the Alcremie. We did see that played over on that B stream, but we actually get to see it here. So I'm really excited to see how Alcremie fares out. It's one of our newest supporters that we've had enter the fray. Yeah, and only at a 7% pick rate, so not getting a lot of representation in this tournament, but it is going to be showing up. PaperX going to grab the Mewtwo-Y on their side of things. And no way!
Thank you, Toon Slim. Thank you so much. I did make a bold prediction. I thought this Pokemon was going to do well. Let's go. Toon Slim, absolute go. Is going to be locking in the Gardevoir, who is at a surprising 14% pick rate, by the way. And this is an interesting one. It does slightly outrange the Suicune, probably at the same range-ish with the Mewtwo-Y. However, you want to take a look at a few of these picks. I think the Galarian Rapidash and the Gardevoir are going to work really well in tandem. The Gardevoir has one of those features with a lot of their moves having special defense shred. Whenever they land them, it does reduce so much of those defenses, and Galarian Rapidash just waits till a couple of those Psychic Tech hits and then jumps right in for a big knockout. I think we're going to see some really nice plays between those two special attackers.
Yeah, interesting calls here to see this come in to play. We'll have to see how it fares out for Nouns. They obviously have that one-up advantage so far. We've only had the one Game 3 on broadcast so far, so we'll have to see whether it's going to be another 2-0 streak to match those patterns, or, you know, we're already almost at the halfway point. I want to see another Game 3 because things are getting tighter.
Yeah, let's shake it up. Let's get to a Game 3. I would love that. Listen, I know there's a lot of Nouns fans here in the venue watching at home, but I know there is a ton of PaperX fans as well. So let's get into it. Game number 2. PaperX going to be your purple team. Nouns Esports, your orange team. Nouns Esports, of course, with that one game advantage. PaperX, we're going back to the drawing board, enter back in with a Zacian, and of course that Suicune going to the top side.
I've got to say, Ponyta earlier on is so good. The way that you end up getting that speed buff whenever you end up hitting that move is so beneficial in terms of dodging your opponents. But PaperX are aware of this. They played really aggressively towards Nouns Esports side to go and contest those wild Pokemon.
Yeah. They are playing the Umbreon, a Pokemon that has kind of fallen off in popularity, at least a lot in the West. However, in the East, this Pokemon is still a very prominent and popular pick. One of the big kind of factors working against it is its early game is a little tough. It evolves at level 4, but you really start to hit some of those power spikes you're looking for in Umbreon around level 6. So for a supporter-type Pokemon, that can be tough. Thing is, Alcremie kind of fits that bill too. Of course, you get up to that level 4, but you really want both of your moves on that Pokemon. As now, Ender still sitting at that level 3.
Yeah, unable to really do much as we have PaperX making a move on that bottom path because it's only Brav left to defend. But even then, they didn't even bother defending, letting those little dunks go on through. Gatlu just creeping towards the wall, hoping to go and get in there 14 points. But looks like PaperX are taking a page out of Nouns Esports book from previous game and playing really aggressive earlier on in their central area.
Yeah, I mean, we got Toon to do a whole lot of damage, but it's into rebonks with that Umbreon. So just absorbs so much of that Psyshock damage, able to easily walk away. PaperX going to walk away with a few central area buffs. Gatlu looking to see if they can take some back. I think they were stolen by their teammate. His Galarian Rapidash for Odesu does secure one, but taken back by that Zacian. HT putting on a really good performance in both games 1 and now looking at game 2.
Yeah, interesting call here. Despite those birds spawning in that central area, Paper Rex are going to continue this momentum to the top half and look at dunking more AOS energy, leaving all of that experience untouched for a whole 20 seconds. But both defenders fighting on out for the time being, but I guess Gatlu is here, so Rebongs needs to back on up for the time being.
They're going to try to stop the scores briefly if they can, but Bruv not having enough to stop in time. And of course, that Dodrio passive is so beneficial to Gatlu getting those early scores in. Bruv will heavy slam and no mean look to lock them in place at the moment, so Bruv will be able to rally back and run all the way back to their side of the map.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. That is Gatlu on the Dodrigo, man.
I love it. Also, small shout out, happy birthday to our Snorlax player in this matchup, as it is Bruv HD's birthday. So, happy birthday. What a present to be making it into day 2 of the World Championships already. I think they'd love that present to transform into top of their group.
Yeah, so whether they're going to get that extra gift, we'll have to wait and see. But Nouns Esports have decided to abandon that Reggie Steal down in that bottom path and prioritize this Reggie Alecki. Paper Rex having that attack and special attack buff here are going to continue this momentum because Nouns Esports, they're outnumbered.
Yeah, but they're doing a pretty good job of defending this. Birthday boy with the block holds on for quite a while as Inder keeps them up and running with these constant recover dollops. That was a 2-on-5 fight around that goal zone, and now Esports holds strong. So again, this patient defensive play works out yet again.
Yeah, it was actually a really good call there to go and take that Reggie Alecki, get in and take that lead now at 125 to 92 points. And Gatlu even continue to get in some dunks in this T2, but they did stick around for a little too long there, unsuccessful to escape that one.
Yeah.
No escape from the oven there one.
I think the intent was they had 3 Pokemon chasing them down, so maybe Nouns Esports could have had a 4-on-2 advantage on this bottom tier 1. But again, defensive play reigning supreme in this match specifically as Paper X holds down that tier 1 defensively yet again. So Nouns Esports does have the points advantage right now, but again, it is so slim between these two teams because of how well they are defending these tier 1s and maybe even that tier 2 in Paper X's case.
The thing is, if we are looking at the levels right now, we have 3 double digits on the side of Paper Rex, 2 now on the sides of Nouns Esports, but Zarshan reaching that level 11 mark. I feel like it's just been slowly in the back line, power creeping, just unexpectedly.
Which is surprising because it's playing in that top path. Of course, I do think it is a good matchup in Dodrio. It can be hard to hunt down some of those knockouts unless you're expending that AOS energy on empowered agilities or things like that, or play rough potentially. But that goal zone breaking, I think, would normally give us the impression that the top side was won by Nouns Esports. Either way, HT got a whole lot of levels to work with. Dodrio looking to see if they can find that level 11. Going to take their time, rotating down towards the Reggie Rock, as Inder is setting up for, of course, a big old party as they're setting up all those dollops early for Bruv to keep picking up.
Now, when there is a birthday, there's got to be cake, and Inder is definitely bringing that, but first they need to prioritize this Reggie Rock. Bruv able to grab themselves a piece of cake, sustaining this fight, going in with the power nap because of that food coma. Reggie Rock getting chipped away, but Nouns Esports, they don't take the gift of the buff. Instead, it looks like they're getting KO'd with 2 members now down.
All right, this could be a big scoring opportunity. Inder did have to use their Ignite move to kind of preserve themselves for the defense, but they were so far away from the goal zone, they couldn't kind of help the whole team. Instead, they just had to use their Ignite move to keep themselves up. So now it's up to this poor Alcramity to try to stop these scores. Bruv has returned, and a big block will defend this goal zone yet again. Paper X stays behind Nouns Esports by just a few points, but Nouns Esports holding on to their lead.
Really, at this point, it could be anybody's game. Paper Rex doing such a great defense of this bottom pad. But Nouns Esports looks like they're looking to take this because they're not retreating just yet.
Yeah, okay, we see Adesu go in and tries to get the Smart Strike run onto Umbreon. I think they would love to find a damage carry to kind of block and maybe set up Bro for a bit of a kidnapping opportunity. Not going to have that one this time around. Rebong sitting in on a big push. Foul plays back. But Suicune will knock out Gardevoir. Toon Slim being out of this team fight is a scary outlook for Nouns Esports. And finally, this tier 1 will fall.
Yeah, after a forever backwards and forth, we finally had that tier 1 being broken. Gatlu not having enough points on hand to go and break that tier 1 back of their own. Reggie Alecki is still up in this top half with less less than a minute left to go until Rayquaza, but we can see the mini-map. There's so much wild Pokemon for the taking for both sides.
Yeah, certainly a lot for PaperX. They're kind of dragging their feet on getting those knockouts. Nouns Esports certainly needs some, though, as Gardevoir has not hit that level 13 yet. Unite Move will still be formidable, but needing both those plus moves, I think it's going to be paramount in this final fight. Regieleki will be knocked out for Nouns Esports with Pokemon like Dodrio and Galarian Rapidash. Even a later score could be very threatening if Regieleki is allowed to walk in. And with PaperX all rotating down towards the bottom side, that is almost assuredly going to be the case.
Well, I was going to say, we said it was a close match. Could be anybody's game, but with 1 point difference, well, Nouns Esports have now changed that because Regieleki ended up crashing on through. Looks like they're not actually going to prioritize just breaking it, but we can see they don't really have much Aeos energy on hand, but they want to make sure they are in position as PaperX are looking to take a fight.
Ooh, Adessu getting stunned so many times and will get KO'd. Mewtwo wide, just with some auto attacks to the outside. Not a Unite move used for PaperX yet, and they're already at a 5v4 advantage.
Oh, we do have that block of making sure to sustain Brothers. Mewtwo is also going to use their Unite move. Rayquaza is quite lone as it rains down the Meteors, and PaperX, it ends up being HT to lock that down, and also 4 members of Nouns Esports are down.
Wow, okay. I mean, PaperX, very clean execution of that final fight. We saw them favor that basement Reggie, getting the defense buff for their entire team with all 5 members, and then rotating up towards the Rayquaza, kind of putting the onus on Nouns Esports. You're going to be showing up to this Rayquaza late, and you're going to be showing up without a buff. That means we have the advantage. HT immediately starts hitting the Rayquaza and kind of leaves Rebongs on that Umbreon and Yang on that Blastoise to buy a little bit of time towards the top side. It's just enough, and they're going to secure that Rayquaza, and now, very likely, we're going to be headed to a game win.
Well, 45 seconds left to go, but we still have PaperX with some shields on hand as they are collapsing towards this home pad where Nouns Esports has decided to take base. And yeah, I think they're just going to take this time to rethink what are they going to do next as we are about to head on into that round 3 situation.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting game. I mean, these two teams trading some really interesting endgame matchups. I mean, it has been like one of those, I think we like to call them cerebral matchups, you know? A lot of macro differences between these teams, patient play, poke damage, flanks, big blocks, any kind of crowd control. It feels like any tiny mistake is exposed by the other team, and PaperX really finding the way to execute in that game number 2.
Yeah, 100%. Even though PaperX lost that previous game, they definitely learned a lot from that. As you mentioned earlier on, taking a page out of Nouns Esports book there to play really aggressively and not allowing Nouns Esports to kind of hand that back there. So obviously it's that moment of truth. We're going to have to see whether Nouns Esports still have it and can take this win against PaperX, and obviously Yang and Rebongs back
when
from
we're getting up to those levels of 13 and even higher. So we're going to be heading into a game number 3 between Nouns Esports and PaperX. We're going to be starting things off with some very interesting new choices as Suicune gets added to the ban roster. PaperX going to be banning 2 fire-flying type Pokemon in the Charizard of the Ho-Oh.
Well, we also have a switch of sides as well. Nouns Esports in that first pick position, PaperX in that second pick. But I guess with Suicune and Umbreon banned and the 2 fire Pokemon, this is going to let Latigas out on the field. I'm interested to see how it goes because, as you mentioned earlier, it's a bit hit or miss. Right. And I feel like locking in that first pick position, it can get countered here by PaperX.
Right, is it a hammer, is it an anvil? I know there's a lot of debate in this one. Also, we did have a bit of an update. I know we teased you all with a matchup between Santos Laguna and QT Dig. QT Dig did end up winning that matchup. So they were playing for the back foot, but they did win that one. So doing very, very, very well in their group. Currently, I believe QT Dig is playing against SAUL on the B stage. It's also a very close matchup. So some exciting stuff going on in the World Championships to the surprise of absolutely no one. But here we go.
Biggest tournament of the year.
Of course, exactly. No? This is what you got to predict and expect. PaperX going again with a very tanky defender-focused position. Yemu has not left this Blastoise position. But the Snorlax is going to be taken away from Braum. Could be shifting over towards this Lapras potentially, or a entirely new option.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but Blaziken being selected here, I think, is a great call. And yeah, you called it there. Mamoswine, but we're getting a different speedster out on the field here. Gatler, I mean, running the triple-headed bird, now opting for a single-headed bird, the Talonflame. It's only got a 2% hit rate so far in this tournament.
Wow, okay, interesting. So, also, fun fact, all 3 flying Pokemon we have in the game getting shown on screen right now. So, yeah, and Blaziken, of course, being denied the flying type, just crazy. But
Chickens do fly. Chickens, they have wings.
I believe they
Blaziken has arms.
I know they can run. I saw that one.
Okay.
So, but HD is going to be locking in that Blaziken. Going to be a very powerful Pokemon. We've talked about its secure potential. Its amazing team fight that it has to work with. And it's going to be partnered with that Hoopa. But Nouns Esports also walking away with a few Pokemon in this draft I think they're going to be very excited about. That Blissey has been banned against them 2 games in a row by PaperX. And finally, it's going to slide through the cracks. So Ender will be getting this pick that has been, well, very heavily favored against them. So I am interested to see how well Ender does with that Blissey, which also, I don't know if y'all caught it, but in the very cool animated intro we had for this World Championship, we did see Blissey doing their best against the Rayquaza at that fountain. There was a whole lot of team fighting going around, and Blissey was just chucking eggs at Rayquaza, which
that's what supporters do.
Hey, we saw Blissey secure a Ray already on today's broadcast, so shout out to the animators. They know what they're doing.
Exactly. You throw the eggs and hope for the best that it ends up landing at the right time.
Exactly.
But look at this, folks. We are heading on into our final game of this set. It is 1 apiece between Nouns Esports and PaperX, as we do have, well, both of those fire-type birds taking that central area for either side.
Is interesting tune on this Latios. Will be going into lane to start the matchup, not going into the central area. Latios does have very solid secure though in that Swift, so it could be a decent matchup. However, Solo with 9 points of AOS energy was feeling great until a moment ago. We do have Gatlu's Talonflame getting the chase and the KO. Or sorry, maybe Adesu. I actually forgot who locked in that one specifically.
Gotta say, that is great. Either intuition or communication with Nouns Esports to go and signal Gatlu to go and finalize that KO and leave that red buff for the time being. But they're going to pivot towards that top side, as we do have PaperX, as you can see on that mini-map, having 3 down in that bottom side. Yeah,
great call out, Kello. I love when teams got that coordination, or maybe even, like you said, intuition. It's probably a combo of the both. This team has been playing together for a long time. Adesu on this Zacian, so got confirmation on that. Does take a very aggressive stance, but it's a little bit more bark than it is bite, as they just go for that wild Pokemon experience. Yemu, Yang retreating back towards that goal zone for the time being.
No bark, no bite, only pats, okay?
Okay, yeah. If you want to go pat the dog with a sword in its mouth, you be my guest. Yemu does make it back. Adesu, very, very scary on this Pokemon, but not quite at the point where they can 100-0 a war turtle.
Well, speaking of 0, it is currently 2-0. Obviously, still very early days, but I feel like both of these teams, in comparison to the last 2 games we've seen, are playing a little bit more passively this time around. But, as I say this, I see on the minimap, Blissey. Yeah. Hello? What are you doing over there?
I'd say a lot of it more passive, except for Ender on the Blissey, who is...
exception to the rule, okay?
Well, up to no good, I would say. Shenanigans for this Blissey, as Ender is trying to buy as much time as they can. Of course, having a similar effect to what Ho-Oh can accomplish. We've seen a few times the Ho-Oh having a really solid invade due to the fact that it can restore its own HP. Well, Blissey's got that in spades, or I should say in eggs as well. Ender always on the hunt to try to steal one of those buffs, but for the time being, just getting a lot of information.
Yes, information is key when it does come down to making the right call of where to push these paths. But 13 to 15 points, as it is a 2v2 up in this top path. Adesu just trying to ward off this war turtle, but Yamu able to grab something and evolve into that fully fledged Blastoise.
Yeah, that's huge. Of course, Blastoise evolving at level 7 gets a really clean secure, but I think it will be Adesu getting the majority of that experience. We just saw a moment there, Ender's Egg a little bit late to stop that portal, but that is an interaction everyone should be looking out for. Blissey, one of those really fantastic counters if you can land the timing at stopping Hoop Up Portals. That vertical knock-up of Egg Bomb does make it difficult for Yang to play around when they're trying to support their team with these hyperspace holes.
Oh, but here comes the Fly, ready to land down 2 members. The Flame Sweep to also just go push them off the map, but they end up getting punished. Gatlu has been sent back to the Pokemon Center, allowing Paper Rex to take control of this Regieleki. Meanwhile, we saw that Registeel was secured by Nouns Esports, but looks like Adesu and Inter, they're actually going to let this Tier 1 pad up.
Yeah, this formidable defense we've seen from Nouns Esports so far. The matchup, well, it is backed up by their incredible play style. I think was enforced by the compositions they were running previously. At this point, they need ToonSlim to be stacking up this Latios in whatever fashion they can. So they're going to be playing a lot of off-lane. They'll have the bodyguard above, but all these big team fight coordinated defenses, I think are going to be a little bit lacking until ToonSlim kind of gets up to snuff, if you will.
Yes, I guess that's a downside. Doesn't have a great early game, but we can see Paper Rex have decided to push down this Tier 1 pad, but they are going to get punished with 2 members getting taken down. Adesu does ends up getting taken down amongst the mix as Hooper is going to successfully retreat. And Paper Rex, well, they've done what they've done. Ruffle some feathers and going back to their side of the map for all of this wild Pokemon that has just spawned in.
Yeah, I mean, this is defensive Pokemon Unite. We saw a absolute ludicrous team fight a moment ago, and we're 40 points difference between these two teams. Like, it is going to be a very slow burn between these two teams, but like I said before, any small mistake can change the momentum of this game. Gatlu has been trying to focus a lot on getting small scores on that top side to stack their attack weight and to set themselves up for a bigger moments throughout this match as we have hit the halfway point.
I think that's a tricky thing when you are playing on the world stage at the World Championships. After all, you can't really afford to make any mistakes. So really got to make those calculated plays and just observe whether it is the right time to dive on in or not. But
yeah,
Paper Rex on ball, taking all of these birds from Nouns Esports because they're nowhere in sight.
It feels like Paper Rex kind of learned, I think one of the reasons they fell in that first game was due to Nouns' position and taking all of that wild Pokemon experience. It feels like Paper Rex kind of soft countered that. They're getting a lot of their own central, and they're even trying to get the response knockouts towards Nouns Esports. This will be a fast rotation to the bottom side as Hoop Up Portal has brought the whole crew down. Gatlu going to ignore Regieleki in favor of scoring, and Nouns Esports lose the Tier 1.
No, I mean, they don't have a Hooper on their side to make that instant teleportation. The Split Assistance is going to go and support Adesu, who's trying to close the gap between this Blastoise, but they successfully escape through that hyperspace hole. A great Blaze Kick coming from HT, but Mewtwo has also been taken down there. HT and Yamu amongst the mix, leaving Yang all alone. Can they escape? No, they cannot. Adesu on a roll with 3 KOs.
And gigantic, level 13 and a half at 340. I mean, Adesu will very easily be level 14 by the time Rayquaza spawns, and could even go for the very, very scary Fabled level 15. That might be a bit of a stretch, but Paper Rex do lose quite a few members. Adesu gets bigger, of course. However, I do think Paper Rex target prioritizing and knocking out the Latios first is the most important threat. That Pokemon, with its infinite scaling danger, is obviously try to slow it down as much as you can. You did a good job with HT on that Blaze again, prioritizing knocking out the Latios.
Yeah, it's going to really depend on how much Eon energy Latios has been able to stack up throughout this match. Either stacking it through securing wild Pokemon or even getting those hits on those opponents. That's really going to be demonstrated, the impact of that in that final point. But, Inda caught amongst the mix does end up getting sent back to the Pokemon Center by making those risky plays, trying to dunk in that Tier 2.
Yeah, I think they were looking if they could get 37, great, but also remember, Blissey has no yellow dot above its head, really needs that Unite move. I don't think they are too upset about getting KO'd at that position at that time. Still 30 seconds until Rayquaza, and potential to get this basement Reggie, something that Nouns Esports I think was very much lacking in that last game. So if they could go into this final fight with a Regice buff, maybe they can make something better happen.
Well, we'll have to see as it's 10 seconds left to go until this final stretch. Paper Rex are just going to retreat for the time being, looking for this positioning. Nouns is also going to follow suit as well, hoping to take position in this tall grass. And, well, 140 to 205, they're the ones that are on the back foot. Once again, do they have the patience this time? though? That is the question.
Yeah, we see even more scoring. So we'll be 21. Would have been an even score if we weren't at 2 minutes. We'll double up to 42. Decent over and up, but Nouns Esports still does not have the lead. Big engage. We have no cooldowns on the talent flag. We got a Unite move to use. A jet button repositions Gatlu to get a bit of an extension. They do push Paper Rex out, but they're still hunting for a KO they haven't found yet.
Yeah, but because of that retreat, we end up having 4 members go and get full HP as Mammoth Mash is going to be popped on out, but the hyperspace hole once again saving Paper Rex. Bliss Assistance onto Toon, trying to help them sustain this fight. You've got to take down this Latios, but now it's 2 members, 3 members now down on the side of Nouns Esports.
All right, this is a Desu's moment. They are so huge. They're almost level 15. They need to find this KO, but right now all they are trying to do is escape. 1 minute has hit the board. A reminder, Nouns Esports still trailing, and now they're only trailing by 3 points. Gatlu with a big score.
3 points. I mean, they might not be a Doe trio, but they are definitely playing some sneaky birds shenanigans here to go and bridge that gap even closer. Yamu going in for another reset. 40 seconds left to go. 3 points. It's a close game, but do these teams even know it?
Yeah, Toon using that Unite move pretty early. Definitely not the hallmark of this Pokemon. Big push does put the Snorlax in danger, and that's the main defender gone. Yamu, the backup defender, if you will, getting on that jump pad, but they are very low on HP, but there's just simply no time. 2 defenders down. Bro, taking them all out. This is going to be a secure for the Ray. We're under 6,000 HP on it. We're looking for the hunt, and it will be a Desu.
A Desu gets the secure with 4 members of Paper Rex now down. All they have to do is go up, 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 and they are golden, and they are going to take this set 2-1 against Paper Rex. As you said, patience is a virtue, and I was biting my fingernails there, unsure what was going to happen, but, well, happened in 2022, able to defeat Yangs and Rebongs, and, well,